Assalamu alaikum salah. Just before we begin, if you support the Young Smirks podcast and you want to help support the channel, please go to the Patreon below and support us monthly so we can keep up with the shows. We've got lots of content coming up. We're going to have special content specifically for the Patreons, as well as a new series on Hijrah, inshallah. So please go to the Patreon below and support the podcast. Assalamu alaikum salah.
إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum salah. Welcome to the Young Smirks podcast. Today we're talking about Hijrah to Bursa and Turkey in general, inshallah. And we have our great guest today. What's your name again?
But, you know,
What's your name again?
average. I'm pretty average.
I didn't save you in my phone yet.
Faizan Ahmed.
Just a phase.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were you thinking of saving me as? Inshallah.
Antalya.
Antalya.
No, alhamdulillah. So we got phase. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Jazakallah khairan for having me here. And it's amazing because my first time in Bursa. So I have to say, out of all the cities I've gone to in Turkey, and I've been to many, I think Bursa has been the only one that shook me, like made me think, you know what, there might be something better, you know. So
Something better than what?
It's difficult to say it.
Go on.
Might be, you know, a potential competitor to Antalya.
Antalya, okay.
Yeah.
Let's just give people a bit of background because you might not know. We've been living in Turkey for about the same amount of time, I think.
Approximately, yeah, I think so.
4 years now.
Yeah, pretty much same.
Yeah. I've been in Bursa, you've been in Antalya, and we never met before.
Yeah, we've been speaking on WhatsApp for quite a while.
I've been to Antalya briefly. I've not seen Antalya yet.
Yeah.
And you've never seen Bursa up until
Exactly. So we're basically
this weekend.
Yeah.
So, you know, you were telling me how good Antalya is. I was telling you how good Bursa is. They're both good, but they're very different. You can't. It's like comparing apples and oranges. I think it's a different life. Like,
definitely.
The way I see Bursa is, it's like you're still in a city life, but you have access to the mountains. You have access to the sea, but the sea is not like Mediterranean beach.
Yeah.
You know, where Antalya you've got the beach. You know, the beautiful Mediterranean beach. You got a bit warmer weather if you like that. Even though Bursa gets warm as well, but Bursa has a colder winter as well.
Yeah, much colder.
Bursa has the more like Islamic history because of obviously the beginnings of the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
But Antalya still has that. But you also have the older history, like the Roman, the Greek history as well, right?
Hadrian's Gate.
Yeah, you have all that as well.
And there's a lot of stuff in the mountains that they have over there.
So look, maybe inshallah I'll be coming to Antalya and maybe I can do a review of what I think of it.
That'll be interesting.
And so what do you think of Bursa so far?
So I think Bursa is a very perfect combination of being a city for Hijrah, because I mean it's definitely more religious. No one can deny that. I've been to many cities and I feel like sometimes there's like concentrated areas of religiousness or they're very scattered. But Bursa, I felt probably 70% or so of the ladies are wearing hijab, which I wouldn't see in Antalya. Antalya is probably like 20-30%, you know, or maybe even less, I don't know. So that's known for being that, do you understand? But Bursa is much more religious, so that's a very important thing. So our ladies will feel more comfortable here.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
some ways.
women, you know, niqabis have no problem in Bursa.
Yeah.
You know, no problem at all.
I mean, there's no problems throughout Turkey, I think, except for maybe some of the eastern parts of Turkey where it's a bit difficult. But Antalya is actually, you know, the funny thing is, there's a story that I met this really religious Turk in Uludeniz beach, funnily enough, in the November month, many years ago. This is about probably 6-7 years ago. And he was living in Gaziantep, and his wife does niqab, and he was a Turk. So I was surprised by seeing that, because obviously we've only seen the holiday resorts and stuff. So when I saw him, he said to me, I'm moving to Antalya from Gaziantep. I thought, Gaziantep is more religious, is more local. And he said, no, but because there's some issues there with the, you know, some countries, because of that, they find it difficult to wear niqab there. So he said, I'm moving to Antalya because Antalya is a cosmopolitan city. So everyone minds their own business. There's a lot of foreigners there. Everybody's used to foreigners. The systems are in place for the foreigners, which makes, I guess that is one point above Bursa, you know, that there are systems in place there. There's more English speaking people. There's also a community there as well. and of different countries, definitely more than Bursa. But when I went with the hike that you took me to, mashallah, they have a very good, strong community here as well. And I felt like immediately welcomed by them. I like that. And on top of that, Bursa, as I said, location-wise, is a very good in terms of combination of mountains. You've got the history, you've got the shopping, you've got the religious people, and you're not far from Istanbul. Which some people want that.
Yeah, I mean, it takes on the coach. Yeah. It takes an hour and 10 minutes to Sabiha Airport in Istanbul.
Yeah.
I mean, I know brothers that live in the west side of Istanbul. It can take them that same amount of time to get to the same airport.
Yeah. It's true, because the traffic.
If I want to go to Istanbul IST airport, it takes an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So you still have access to, a very good international airports. You also have access to Istanbul. Istanbul, it's a place, I wouldn't like to live there, but I like to dip in and out. I like to go once a month for a few days, do some dawah. We have some brothers there, meet some brothers. But it's not a place I was keen on living. A lot of brothers are living there and they love it. They have a great time. But for me, I like the slightly smaller city. Even Bursa is still a big city. It's 3 million.
Yeah.
It's the size of Greater Manchester.
But
but it feels less busy.
It does, definitely. I mean, even compared to Antalya, which is supposed to be a smaller city, now, because it's become like the 4th most populous city in the world in terms of people coming and visiting it, because of that reason, the traffic is crazy now.
Yeah.
So parts of Antalya, obviously you've got the outer regions, the local areas which are less busy, but most of the historic places, they're very busy. And I feel like Bursa, when you were driving around in your, mashallah, big...
No, I mean, it does get busy.
Yeah.
Rush hour, it can get busy. You can get trapped in, you've not seen that part.
Maybe the newer part.
But the thing is, you don't need to go.
Yeah, it's true.
Where do you need to travel?
For us, we don't need to go there.
We're not, It does get busy, and it has got busier since COVID. I think there's a lot more overspill from Istanbul now coming.
Must be.
Also, since the earthquake.
Yeah.
In eastern Turkey, many Turks came and they bought property, so that also made the property prices go up as well.
Yeah.
The property prices have really increased over the last 4 years.
Probably about 3 times more.
But to be honest, they were low to begin with.
They were. Yeah.
They should have been increased before that.
I think Turkey has been a very extremely underrated country for moving to.
Yeah.
So it's been a holiday place for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think now people are realizing, because of the the crunch of living in the West, it's just crazy. It's out of limits and out of bounds, and people are just working to pay their bills. And when I came here, bro, coming to Turkey, I realized there's so much barakah here. You've got a lot of time for your family, and you have the systems in place for you to enjoy yourself. Like the other day, you took us up the mountain. Mashallah, that park was amazing. The combination of things that they have there, the barbecue stands, the play areas, the masjid, the viewpoint.
There's a park in Bursa, and basically it's called Extreme Park. And
that swing is just...
You've got hundreds and hundreds of barbecue stands.
Yeah.
You pay like £1 to get in. What was it,
crazy.
40 lira, right?
Yeah,
you got free parking. Yeah. You can use the barbecue stands, the facilities for free. You've got the masala everywhere. A few different masala spread out. You've got like Go Ape. Where you climb in the trees.
The children, and they got
the
two
kids
of them
versions.
as well. They got a kid version and a.
You've got like a dry bobsleigh thing where you hold it down and go. It's really fast.
We did that. We'll upload that.
Maybe you can check out your channel and see the video.
That was really fun.
You've got like a big swing.
Yeah.
A nice restaurant, like really nice, posh restaurant, but it's cheap. You can get a pizza for £5.
Yeah, it's true.
And so the thing is, people don't know. Like Bursa, it's not just for history. There's so much to do for family. There's loads of parks. You can.
There's a lot of greenery.
Many of them you can set up barbecues.
Yeah.
You can have picnics. There's no complaining, you can't have a picnic here or something. You can't sit on the grass.
It's true.
There's none of that. It's there to be used. You have an aquarium, you have a zoo, you have many museums, many historical mosques. You've got the biggest, longest cable car in the world.
And most of the museums are free as well, by the way.
Yeah.
So I was surprised by that.
You know, another thing, right? Some people don't realize, like, the biggest mountain in UK is Ben Nevis in Scotland, and it's about 1,300 meters. And this Uludağ is 2,500 meters.
Amazing.
So it's nearly, and you know,
yeah.
subhanallah, it's nearly double.
MashaAllah.
The
People
size
can't
of,
see on the camera, but
see this in the
mountain
background is like,
humongous.
I would say this mountain here, it's a false peak. You know, this is like about 10% of the actual mountain.
Wow.
As soon as you peek over there, it just shoots right up.
Yeah. I mean, you said the combination of horse riding. You know, you got
horse riding,
all these natural things to do. It's a bit more local feel rather than Antalya.
Yeah.
I do accept that. I mean, my biggest problem is because of my children and my wife. They're asthmatic. So because of that, the winter here is obviously much colder than Antalya and less sun. So that was my kind of biggest issue. If the weather was a bit thingy, this would just be a perfect place. And of course, if there was a beach, you know, having a beach.
I mean,
you've got that thing down there.
That's not. There's actually a sand beach.
Okay. How far is that from here?
It's like Yalova. It's about an hour away.
Okay.
If you go about an hour and a half away, you know you get really nice beaches.
MashaAllah.
That's kind of how it is in England, right? You know,
Yeah,
if you're living in London, you want to go to the south.
Yeah.
It takes a couple of hours to get to the beach, so it's not too different from how it was in the UK. You know, you have to travel a bit for a beautiful beach, but you have the Bosphorus here. It's 20 minutes away.
Yeah, it's true.
And you've got two ferries. You've got Edo and Budo, and that takes you direct into Fatih.
It's like £6
in 2 hours.
Takes you
yeah,
there.
£6. You direct into the middle of Fatih. You know, 5 minutes walk from Sultan Ahmed and Hagia Sophia. You know, and you can go and come back in a day.
Yeah.
You can get the first boat out 7 o'clock. You arrive for 9 o'clock. You know, and then you back on the boat at 8 p.m. Arrive back here for 10. So you can have a nice day out in Istanbul.
So
for £6.
I think we've advertised your Bursa enough.
Yeah.
You know.
So first of all, tell us, why did you do Hijrah and why did you come to Turkey? Like, and did you consider any other countries?
So we came on holiday here, and it was, I mean, most people from the West, they like Turkey because it's cheap. So it's probably one of the cheapest destinations to come on holiday, literally in the world. And in terms of distance to the UK, it's only 4 hours. So that makes it very convenient, very cheap. For example, if you were to go to Malaysia, that's like 12-hour flight. You know, it's very expensive. Literally, the flight is probably 10 times more expensive. Literally, you can get £10 flights from London to Antalya, or even probably Istanbul as well sometimes. But Antalya, I've seen literally £10, £9.99 from, you know, direct.
I'm sure these flights must be subsidized by the hotels or something.
I don't know
because,
how. No, it's, I think because they have so many coming and going.
I'm sure the hotels must be
winter
contributing.
period is very cheap, and because where we live here, we can get to choose when we're going to go back. And normally we go back when they're coming.
Yeah.
You understand? So there's not a lot of people going back sometimes, and there's a lot of people coming. So we're getting the cheap flight. So it's really perfect for us. In the combination of Turkey in terms of safety, in terms of location, in terms of the people. Yeah, Turkish people are just extremely, from what I feel, some of the easiest, nicest people, nicest Muslim country. And another thing is because we're religious, we've got a beard, our wife does niqab and stuff like that. It's comfortable here. So I've been to many other countries.
You know,
right?
I think
I've been to many Arab countries.
I personally think different cities are different. So, for instance, Antalya, they've got 50 years experience with tourists.
Yeah.
They kind of know what upsets the tourists as well.
Yeah, it's probably
They've
true.
kind of got a nice balance of how to speak to a tourist, how to speak to an English person, a German person. In Istanbul, it's different, bro. You're gonna experience it.
I will, yeah. I haven't been there for over 20 years.
It's pretty rough and tough. I mean, the people.
They don't have the patience, I'm assuming.
You need the patience.
Yeah.
There's a lot more trying to rip you off in Istanbul.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like London. It's comparing London to like somewhere up north in the UK. You know, Londoners just don't speak to each other. You know, they ain't got time. It's a busy city. So the thing with Istanbul, I feel like the people don't know how to deal with a tourist in a polite way. They're quite aggressive and come in the shop and.
It's normal, isn't it, with the big cities?
Yeah, but in Bursa, they don't have any experience with tourists.
Okay.
So, and they don't have the English language here. See,
Yeah.
in this is probably a downfall for some people,
Yeah.
but for me, I like it. I like
Yeah.
that no one speaks English, and
I mean,
you
we were
know,
talking about this
yeah.
earlier. We were like, some people want to learn the language and they want to integrate,
yeah,
but there is one advantage of not knowing the language.
yeah,
You feel at peace
yeah. You know,
because it's all background music. You know, when people are talking, it's just background thing going on, and then you feel at peace. And then I remember whenever I go to a hotel or I meet lots of British people and there's foreigners speaking in a cafe or something,
you're just hearing
I
everything.
can hear it, and my mind is listening to
I
them,
know,
and that's disturbing me.
Yeah,
So not knowing the language has advantages. Plus, you know, if someone gets angry at you, you're like, what is he talking about? I don't know. So it's just amazing, isn't it?
yeah.
And he could be saying
I
all
definitely
sorts.
think if I knew the Turkish language, I think I'll be getting in more fights. You know.
Probably. I mean, I know about 40% and I understand it,
Yeah.
and still the people are really nice. I think overall.
Yeah,
Of all the
amazing
countries I've been
people in Bursa, very nice people. The issue is the language barrier. It's not an issue for me.
Yeah.
I don't mind not knowing the language and not being able to communicate. But for some people, they want to be able to communicate. They want to speak to people.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they're only speaking about politics anyway. You know.
Politics, economy.
Yeah. So the thing is, I think they've got less experience with tourists. In a good way, you can walk through the market, the Grand Bazaar, and no one asks you to come into the shops
Yeah.
because they're not used to tourists.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the tourists that come, they come from Istanbul for a day. They come on a coach trip. They go up the mountain, do the cable car, see a few mosques, and go back. They don't go into the
Not a lot of
souk.
people stay here.
Yeah.
And I feel like more people need to come, especially Muslims. They need to come here, spend more time, because you can't see everything in one go. Most people do these small bursts of one-day trips. To be honest, most people don't even stay the night. You know, that's what's unfortunate. So I think
tell
there's
us
a lot
about-
to see, like the museums. You can go up these mountains, literally like the South American favela. What do you call it?
Favelas,
Yeah, it's like that up there, but it's safe. There's masjids,
and
halal
clean.
food, Muslims. You know, it's
Look,
mostly like
I know you want to
older
keep
people.
talking about Bursa, but let's get back to
Sorry,
Antalya.
I mean, the past 2-3 days I've been a bit excited, and I get excited quite quickly. But this is the only place, as I said, that is a bit of a competition now.
Yeah.
That I've kind of given myself a question mark. So, but what did you want to say?
So, first of all, why did you want to do Hijrah? You said that obviously you came on holiday, you find it's cheap, but why did you decide, okay, I could actually live here?
So
It's a big step.
The biggest beginning was when we spent 4 months in a row here. And then my children they were on these inhalers, you know, orange inhaler. That's like a really good steroid inhaler, strong one. So they were getting ill all the time.
In the UK?
In the UK, all the time. Asthmatic symptoms, you know, pneumonia, going to the hospital literally every 2 months.
SubhanAllah.
And you could be seeing them grasping for breath.
Wow.
You know, you could see them on the pangs. Like you think that something could happen any moment where they'll just.
Is that the weather in the UK or the pollution? What?
We don't know. I don't know. The pollution, combination of food, combination of lack of sun, whatever you want to call it.
SubhanAllah.
So that 4 months that I spent, they were on inhalers. When we went back to England, the doctor did the check that they do normally, the asthma review, and he said they don't need inhalers anymore. I said, what? He said, I don't know what you did in the past 4 months. Just continue doing that. I said, okay, I need to go back. So that was one of the biggest. So it wasn't even a concept of Hijrah, to be honest. In the beginning was health of my children and my family. And when I came to Turkey, another aspect in my mind was da'wah. Because, you know, the market of da'wah in England, I feel, is very saturated.
Yeah. In the English language, generally.
Yeah, in the English language. And I think if you were to say what is the most religious Western place in the whole world, I would probably say England. You know, England has probably the most religious people, the most madrasas, the most Islamic schools, the most scholars coming out. Even online, you know, most people probably agree with the same thing. So I felt the market was very saturated, you know. And I felt when I came to Turkey, it was like literally virgin territory. You know, like nobody, they don't even have the concept of da'wah, you know, and the command of Allah of inviting towards good, forbidding evil. It's just not existing even in the religious people. So I thought, you know, the light bulb came on. I was like, amazing opportunity, you know, to do something here. So that's why I felt, you know, I could contribute towards the community, contribute towards the people, and for myself, health benefit, and my children and family's welfare. So after I moved, that's when this education problem happened in England.
All right, the change of the...
And then people thought, you know, when I moved, people thought I was crazy because I got a first-class degree in accounting and finance. You know, my main location for work...
Got a first-class degree.
he's pulling my chain, that's what he's doing. So because of that, London being a major hub for the work that I do,
Yeah.
you understand? So because of that, a lot of people, bashed me. They said you should be. That's where you should be. What are you going to do in Turkey? So wallahi, I had no idea what I was going to do. So the first thing people always ask you when you do Hijrah, what are you going to do there? What job are you going to do? It's super duper annoying. So I really, to be honest, I had tawakkul on Allah. I thought I'm doing it for the sake of Allah. I'm doing it for the sake of my family. Allah will open doors. And I felt a lot of doors were closing for me in England. So the signs were very clear. I'm one of those people who cannot make a decision. I'm the worst probably decision maker. And I'm also a very scared person of going somewhere, doing something out of the ordinary. And anybody who knows me, they can vouch for that.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
yeah. Don't
I
tell
won't
them
expose you.
Don't tell them about that. So I'm a very soft and very scared person. And I'm the last person who would ever do Hijrah. But the doors that were closing in England, the signs were super duper clear. It was literally like Allah slapping me on the face several times and saying, you need to go.
Sometimes it's hard to understand Qadr sometimes, because we know that we have choices. We have freedom to choose. But the choices get so narrow sometimes that it's like you're following a record, but we're not following a record.
You're just following the steps, man.
It's Qadr that you have to go somewhere. And just to show you a different side, like some people, I've known people to come to Turkey and within the same day they've got a flight out because everything went wrong.
SubhanAllah. It happens.
Yeah, because it's just not their Qadr.
It's not meant for them.
It's not meant for them. You're supposed to be somewhere else. It's written you somewhere else. So
they'll get a bombardment of problems.
And
you'd be like, I've been living here several years and it's never happened to me. And it happens to them. It's Allah's sign to them.
It's somewhere else for you.
Yeah, for you, it's not meant for you.
So subhanAllah, I mean, the health thing's very interesting. It'd be interesting to dig a bit deeper with that. Like, have you had your kids checked recently? And
so alhamdulillah, they're much better now. I mean, look, no one can deny, fruit and veg. There's more availability here. And it's literally probably 10 to 20% of the price we pay in England. So that does contribute towards it. Like, for example, when we make a curry, over there you put these tin tomatoes. Because you can't buy fresh tomatoes for curry. That's going to be a very expensive curry. So here you can use fresh tomatoes. And that, these kind of things contribute. In the sun, vitamin D, the outdoor lifestyle, as you said, even here you have so many activities.
It's interesting you said, like, you're a trained accountant and people think, oh, why don't you chase the money, The thing is, people chase the money to do what we're doing. The end goal, is to retire,
spend time with your family,
and spend time with your family, enjoy your children, enjoy your grandchildren. SubhanAllah, it's like the way I feel here is, life is so cheap for us.
It's true.
We have to be fair, because we're coming from the UK. Once you have property, your bills are so cheap. You're talking like £50, £60, £70 max a month. For all your bills.
Don't forget council tax.
£20
a year.
£20 a year.
People are paying, £2,000-3,000 a year.
People don't realize like the weight off your shoulders.
You feel free, like
in the
you're
UK,
flying,
you have to find £2,000-3,000 a month just to float.
It's true.
If you don't own a property, you need a good £2,000-3,000. In London, definitely you need £3,000.
It's crazy.
That
was actually another thing. So see, I was married.
You need two incomes. Your wife has to work.
I was living with my parents.
I
was literally living with my parents, and I couldn't afford to buy a house in England. So that's another aspect. I wouldn't say there's one reason why I moved. There's several reasons. So I could afford to buy my own place in Antalya. And alhamdulillah, we came in at the right time. I think you and me. So, I mean, as I said, people have to do istikhara, they have to make dua for Allah, they have to see the signs, and Allah mentions the word ayat, like hundreds of times in the Quran. We have to look for the signs that Allah gives to us.
So then you just decided, I'm going to move to Antalya, or was it like, how did that happen?
So in South Turkey, the biggest major city is Antalya as well. So when it comes to universities, schools, education, work, there's a lot more opportunities. There's no other major city in South Turkey. And not to mention, obviously, the beauty and everything else, and the foreigners. So that's the reason why I chose Antalya. And then I found out about these other things, about being closer to Sham and these kind of things, which I thought were interesting as well. Many people showed me some hadiths and stuff. So near the end times, we know things are getting more difficult, you know, and we need to prepare ourselves. We need to be, you know, on board with these things. We need to do our research and see where will be more safer for our family in the future, inshallah. So that's another reason as well why I chose South Turkey. Not to mention the farms as well. So, you know, as the hadith mentions that we should go towards the mountains, you know, and the most valuable commodity you're going to have is your livestock, you know, like animals and stuff. So that's why that came on afterwards. So now we're working on a project to do with a farm. So we've bought a farm, alhamdulillah, about 2.5 hours away from Antalya. So away from everything. It's in the mountains, it's off-grid, the water's coming from the mountains, and you know, the electricity comes from the solar panels. There's a house built on it.
So tell me some of the points that Antalya has over Bursa, where you think Antalya beats Bursa with this, you know.
The weather, number one,
for
my family's health. That's very important.
That's a bit subjective, because I don't like humid, hot weather.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite hot in Antalya. I mean,
look, as Asians.
How no, but many Asians have been living in UK for.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. But you see, Asians were not meant to be in the cold. Yeah. So for you, this might be perfect in the winter. It's all right. It's bearable. Yeah. For me, it's unbearable. And
give us an idea of the weather in Antalya.
Okay, so in the winter, you're talking, you know, 10 to 15 degrees in the winter.
And in the summer,
at nights, it can even reach up to 5 degrees, even down to even you know, 2-3 degrees at nighttime. So it's still very bearable.
But in summer, it's like 40 degrees in the nighttime.
Only in September, only in June, end of June, July and August. That's it. So in those months, I normally go back to England. Was it perfectly?
I don't know about that. I mean, I came around March. Yeah. And I landed in Antalya. Yeah. Oh, it's hot, bro.
Can't be, man. Not in March.
Even at night.
March is cold.
it may have been April.
In March. It's too cold.
It may have been April, bro. At night time.
I mean, look, you get days of heat waves. You know, sometimes this heat wave comes from Morocco, the Saharan desert or something. Yeah. That must have been. So
just that day,
it must have been abnormal. If you look at the annual weather, just go on Antalya.
It goes over 40, doesn't it?
Very rarely. Goes very rarely.
See, in Bursa, the hottest it gets for about 2 or 3 weeks is about 38, maybe 40. Yeah. For like 2 weeks only. Most of the time, it's like 30, 32, 29, 34. In the winter, it does get cold. You know, we didn't have snow this year. We have snow in the mountains. There's like 7 ski resorts up there. Mashallah. So
we've got one as well.
Every year you're guaranteed, you know, skiing and snow. Yeah. And the good thing about that is you got water. You got a very good fresh water supply.
That's important.
You know, that's
for the future. That's an important commodity.
You know, for the city, for the country as well. You know. Yeah.
Antalya is surrounded by mountains as well.
Yeah, you got some snow up there as well for.
Yeah, we have one ski resort.
Ski resort, yeah.
And
that's good.
And that's why we chose the reason we chose the farm location to be in Denizli is because Denizli is known and throughout the country as being a place of water. Deniz, you know, it's from the water. Deniz means like water. You know? Yeah.
But the snow, we didn't get snow in the actual city this year.
That's good, yeah.
But we did get snow the past 3 years.
Well, weather's changing.
But only for a week. Yeah. But before that, when I first arrived, I was told that it had not snowed for like 8 years in the city before that. But I've never seen like ice. Like you don't wake up and you have to scrape the ice off your window.
Well, that's good then.
It's either snow or nothing. You know, you don't get. I've never seen
that dangerous
ice.
black ice.
No.
I used to get in England.
It doesn't get.
That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Ice is okay, but black ice. Yeah. And when it gets slippery and stuff.
Like snow is cold, but not that cold. You know, it doesn't ice up. So I mean, the weather we've done all right with the weather. The weather's good in Bursa, but Antalya is also manageable. It's not like, you know, the Gulf. You know, where you're talking 50 degrees. You know,
look,
in places like Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi, they leave for 3 months. They come here.
They live. You know, they live their life at night time.
Yeah, but they leave in the summer. They've all got apartments in Bursa, Antalya, and Istanbul.
It's true. They've got backup places.
A good 3 months, they leave.
Yeah.
It's unbearable.
I mean, look, the Arab countries. Let's be outright. Yeah, with the Arab countries, you feel a bit. You know, there is a bit of. You know, you're a bit lower class. I don't want to talk too much about it. but I don't want to go too deep into it. But I think everybody knows.
Yeah. No,
Second thing is it is expensive. You know, in many of these Arab countries, it is quite expensive. Third thing, you're living at night time. It's super duper hot all the time. You're living in air conditioner. In Turkey, you have the 4 seasons.
Is the buildings don't have windows, man. They have like little tiny windows because of the heat.
Yeah.
And the AC, you know, you live in.
So you're living indoors and you don't even have that. Like you know, the views here are just amazing.
Yeah. Like we sit here night and day. You know.
Allahu Akbar. It's just the nature, history, the greenery. It's just you don't have to sell it, bro. You don't even need to sell it.
People know what.
You don't need to sell it. You know, it's just there for the people. Like there's a lot of people recently they've been talking about Malaysia. So you know, you've been to like over 80 countries, mashallah.
Yeah.
This guy's been to 80 countries, and he's been traveling since a young age, like crazy. Before even these vloggers came along. And mashallah, he chose Turkey. That's the biggest question.
And specifically Bursa. Like, I'll be honest with you, me personally, I've not seen another city. Not that I've traveled all of Turkey. But I've traveled to a few cities. I've not found this. You know. And
I think you got something special here.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
I mean, as I told you, this is the only combination that I found that works. Is there any other countries that you potentially thought of?
For me, of course,
that came close to Turkey.
If you're working, if you got like a first class degree, for instance, you know, you could get, you know, like some people have more degrees than a thermometer. But if you want to work, you know, for instance, or you want to do business,
I made him say that, by the way.
You know, you can like obviously many people are moving to Dubai, right?
We'll talk about that actually.
Dubai is an option if you're into business, if you're into working, if you have a good amount of money to set up. If you like that type of living,
nighttime living.
Yeah, but for me,
that's what it is basically.
For me, it's a bit. I don't know. It's a bit fake.
It's plastic.
It's a bit fake. Qatar's also nice, but
there's no history. The people are all there to work, to make money.
It is nice though. Like I don't want to knock it. Like I don't want to, because Turkey might not be for many people, you know. And Dubai.
But then again, you know, see, if you were to say what does Dubai have, Turkey has that to offer as well.
No, but for instance,
Turkey has the modern buildings.
What I'm saying is, not everyone has the money to buy a property, and not everyone is a businessman earning money. Some people, for instance, can get a very decent job in Dubai and be earning double, triple the wages what they would be in UK. Like teachers, for instance.
I agree with that.
You know, so if you're a teacher living in UK, you need to get to Dubai, Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi.
That's true.
You know, earn the money. You know, spend 10 years in the Middle East, save some money. You know, work in Kuwait, tax-free. You know, Saudi, little tax.
But it has become difficult to get those jobs now. So back in the days, it was
still
easy.
Teaching jobs is loads of them.
Is it?
In the Middle East is loads. But what I'm saying is, there's certain jobs you can get in the Middle East where you can get paid. So you can work in the Middle East, save a ton of money, right? And then look at Turkey or look at Morocco or look at different parts, you know. So you can't write off the Gulf. Okay. Turkey's not for everyone. Not everyone can come here because you can't earn money here. You know, you can if you're a businessman, but what I'm saying is, don't just write off the Gulf. You know, the Gulf has a lot of benefits. I mean, and the Gulf can be your stepping stone to Turkey. You know, you can save for 5-10 years and come and buy 5 properties here.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you can get an online job from the West, wherever you're coming from, even if you're getting minimum wage, you and I know we can live like a king here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Minimum wage and you're living like a king.
You also have Morocco is also a nice spot because there's many cities, different types. Morocco, but I still think Morocco needs about 5 to 10 years just to get to the level of Turkey. So travel around, visit Bursa for a few weeks, visit Antalya, visit Istanbul, travel around, get a feel for the city. Go to Morocco, spend a few months there. Go to Egypt. If you've got an income coming in, go and visit the Muslim world, because, as I said, Malaysia is not for me, but it might be for someone else. Some people really love that culture and the Far East. My sister lives in China. You know, she's lived in Hong Kong. She went to China. Now she's back in Hong Kong. She loves the Far East as well. So, you know, but I do think, personally for me, the time we came, Turkey was the best option.
At that time.
And right now, for us, yeah, great. We've bought property. We're in the system. But I don't know how easy it is now to come and do what we did, because there's certain rules and regulations in place about having to spend over 200,000 on property. Some people are telling me that you can spend less on property and you can go to the court and challenge that, and it's still possible. There's a new nomad
visa.
Nomad visa
Recently came up.
So
last month.
I don't know what the reality is of Turkey is at the moment. But look, one thing about Turkey is it's always possible. You can make a way. There's
leeways.
There's a bit of,
that's why I feel
yeah.
Turkey is so perfect, a combination of many things. That the government allows all the people, rich and poor, to enjoy shortcuts and routes. I don't want to mention specifics, but they allow you to do things.
Yeah.
While in the West, only the rich people have access to that kind of, ways to get out of stuff.
Look, tell us some pros of Antalya over Bursa. Then you mentioned the beach, having access to the beach, the weather.
I mean, they'll see on my channel. There's a lot of things I keep talking about Antalya.
Yeah. But I mean, things over Bursa, apart from the weather and the beach, nothing, right?
There's more foreigners, so your wife
Okay,
and
that's
children,
that's
your
a
wife
negative.
and children will be more entertained, because there'll be more entertainment stuff. There'll be more fun stuff to do. There'll be more things.
I don't know about that, bro.
And there's more foreigners to.
So would you say Bursa is better than Antalya now?
You'll find more English-speaking friends there. So that's what.
But if you don't want English-speaking friends,
if you want to be in your bubble, but talking about bubble, we were going to talk about this actually. That many people say, how do you feel living in Turkey and then integrating with the people? I think it's a perfect bubble. You know what I mean? Because when we had the choice. You've been to many. You were talking about Blackburn and stuff like that in England, where it's like the Jannah for Muslims. Like all religious.
I won't say Jannah, but yeah.
Yeah, Hufaz,
it's quite
ulama,
religious.
and you got mashallah the Islamic madrasas and whatnot. So I had that choice as well. I was contemplating doing Hijrah up north, from London. But the problem I feel in those areas is that you've got the two extremes. Yeah, you've got the religious people and the non-religious people. And another thing is because, for example, I'm an Asian. So I will mix with, if I'm in an Asian community, everyone's Asian. Yeah, all the neighbors are Asian, everyone's Muslim. You get too comfortable, and that makes you downgrade yourself. You get too comfortable and lazy. Yeah, I'm the kind of guy who needs to have a bit of non-religiousness to motivate me and to make me feel special. Like I need to do da'wah here, I need to do effort here. But if I'm in that area, everyone's doing it, I will become extremely demotivated. And the second thing is, for my wife and children and myself to safeguard myself, I need to be a bit detached from people that will make me too comfortable. So if I was in, for example, Blackburn or some religious area up north, in a really nice religious community, I would be going out more. My wife will be mixing more with many families which I can't control because they're literally next door. Yeah, and the children will be mixing with too many people, and they'll get too comfortable mixing with certain groups, and there's more chance they can go away from Islam or away from practicing and into drugs or, Allah forbid, other things than they would in Turkey. So in Turkey, I'm in this nice bubble. There's religious Turks that I mix with. We can clearly see the non-religious people. Yeah, and we mix with the foreigners that are religious. So I get to control who my wife and my children mix with, and myself.
Give us some negatives of Antalya, like negatives over what Bursa doesn't generally have.
I mean, of course, you can't deny certain parts, especially the city centre area and the Konyaaltı beach area, Lara beach area, there's alcohol. Yeah, but the good thing is no one gets drunk. You won't see drunk people on the street. You won't find any safety issues. There's a lot of safety. The people are very, controlled. If anything, some guy's doing something dodgy or looks even slightly dodgy, the Turks will come in as a community and mashallah, they'll stop it. That's the good thing about, Antalya. You don't have that issue.
Would you say
there are more drunks? There is more.
Would you say it's more expensive as well?
Than Bursa? I think in terms of
obviously certain areas like the tourist area is going to be very expensive.
I think it's pretty much the same, to be honest. Throughout Turkey, I've been to many local cities. I actually found, because of the amount of tourists coming to Antalya, you can find more cheaper goods like clothing and stuff like that. So I know people who come from Alanya and other cities to Antalya to shop because the markets are more cheaper. These
past few days of being in Bursa, what stood out for you where you think, whoa, they have something here that Antalya doesn't?
John's here. Mashallah, No, I mean, it's a, what stands out is I'm surprised by it's more religious, and I'm surprised by the perfect combination of distance to Istanbul, but it's still very natural. There's a lot of natural beauty, and many things to do, many activities to do, many fun places to do, to go to, which I was surprised by, which I haven't seen in other normal cities in Turkey. So these are, I think, the best combination.
Alhamdulillah.
And of course, Johnny Boy.
And what are some of the negatives of Bursa? What do you think?
For me, it's just the weather. To be
Apart
honest.
from me,
The weather and the beach.
the weather.
The lack of the beach and the lack of
It'd
the
be
weather.
interesting to. It doesn't sound right to say bring your family and test it.
Yeah.
You don't want your kids getting sick, but
No, but I could come here like September,
it'd
October.
be interesting. It'd be interesting to try it and see. They might react good to it. It might be the clean air. It might be about the pollution of, because you lived in South London. I mean, the pollution's a bad thing. The water, London, it's got so many negatives. The food you're eating, now they've got over of that. They might actually be okay in this weather.
Yeah, I will definitely try it.
Yeah.
And mashallah, it's been an eye opener.
Yeah.
It's been a challenger.
So you recommend people check out Antalya, Bursa?
They have to travel around, and they have to see what fits them, and which families that are going to move with them, and what families are already there that they have a good combination of. So that's very important. Just so. This is the problem being on the rooftop thing. You never know.
So yeah, look, we're going to have to wrap it up because the Adhan's about to go.
Yeah.
So give us any last thoughts or points of advice you wanted to mention?
I think people have to do a lot of dua for Allah to accept them, because first of all, according to our deeds, people think that, why isn't Allah showing me good signs, or where I should do, what I should do, what I shouldn't do, and it's because of their own deeds, bro. There's a lot of people doing a lot of haram. They're not controlling themselves.
So it's because you don't have any bad deeds, that's why you get all the signs?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
MashaAllah.
Allah, astaghfirullah. I'm just saying, look, we have to fix ourselves. Then Allah will show you. Like, for example, they say good men are for good women and good women are for good men. When you get married, if you're having problems of getting married, it could be something deficient in you. You need to change yourself, and then Allah will open the doors for a good woman to come to you.
Inshallah.
In the same way, for us to get the good signs of where we're supposed to go, we have to change
You use
ourselves.
that example a lot, don't you?
Do I?
About
I'm
good man
obsessed
for
with
good woman.
So
So yeah, Jazakallah khair. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and everyone's welcome. If anyone comes down to Bursa, message me, probably by email or Instagram, one of them platforms. Just send me a message. If you're going to Antalya, you can check out Faizy's
Confused Muslim.
Confused Muslim on YouTube. Check out his videos. And he can show you around, show you some properties. We'll put the links below. And yeah, Jazakallah khair, bro.
It's very nice
pleasure.
meeting you, John.
You're heading to Istanbul next.
Yeah, Zishan's coming from Smile to Jannah.
Smile to Jannah. So you're going to be doing some videos about Istanbul.
Yeah, most likely, definitely.
And then you can check them out on the line.
Inshallah.
And look at this. Allahu Akbar.
Bro, this feeling of adhan, it doesn't get old.
Allahu Akbar.
This takes away a lot of shayateen and bad
Beautiful.
things.
Allah.
For our family, our children to experience this
Wallahi,
and feel this,
Wallahi.
it's still magical, bro.
It is.
And the heart feels it when the adhan happens,
Allahu Akbar.
Bro, we don't even need to look at the time for salah.
That's what I mean. I never look at the time. You say,
You
what
don't
time?
need to put an alarm for
I
Fajr.
wait for the adhan.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Though.
It's beautiful.
This is what it's about.
The perfect combination of Western and Islamic culture. And it's perfect.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu
جزاك الله
alaikum.
خير.
إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء